Hello, my name is Chris Keyack with Keyack Technology Solutions. In this video today, we're going to showcase a new version of our MBS View Creator tool for Tekla Structures. And this is specifically geared for metal building clients, especially those that use MBS and SlideRule to import the building into Tekla Structures. Now, what a lot of users are used to is in MBS, you simply go to the Drawing 1 tab and you go up to Auto here, and you just say Make All Cells on this screen. And literally within a couple minutes or less, you'll see that all of the erection drawings with all the annotations and everything are created. And so it's a little bit different when users come over to Tekla Structures and they're not used to all of the manual steps that are required to create erection drawings. And so what we want to do is to help reduce the amount of time not only to create the model views for like your side walls, end walls, and your rigid frames, but also now to generate the erection drawings. So let's go ahead and see how we can do this now with the new version of the MBS View Creator. Now, the first thing that you have to do is create your model views. So here on the view list, you'll see that there are no views created except for the default 3D view. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at a couple new options that we've created. If you have a crane plan, then you can check that here and you can enter in the Z elevation for the top of steel. Same thing for a mezzanine. And then also we added a new feature that if you do have a rigid frame on grid line 1 or 4, or in this case, the left or right end wall, if it's also rigid frame, now we have the option to create rigid frame views for that as well. So if those are required, then you just turn those checkboxes on and it'll create those additional views. Now we don't have those cases on this job, so I'm just going to press the Create Views button and it'll go through here within literally seconds and create all the views on the job. Now what I wanted you to see here is that all of the views for the sidewalls and the end walls are actually going to be looking from the outside of the building, which is exactly how MBS does things. And then for the rigid frame lines, you're going to be looking from the left end wall towards the right end wall. And it'll also create the sheeting views as well as the framing views. So for instance here, if I look at basically this sidewall framing on grid line A, you'll see that there is the frame line. And then if we open up the sheeting view, so we'll just go to sidewall and then sheeting frame line A, you'll see that that shows that view with the sheeting on. So if we toggle between these, the difference here is on the framing line one. In the view properties, it has MBS no sheeting or trim on there. So that shows you all of the different views that get created. And then really the next step is to go ahead and then generate the drawings. So here we can see a full list of all of our views. And now that we have those all set and accurately placed, we can go ahead and say which is the drawing number that we want to start with. So I'll just start with drawing number 1. We can choose whether or not we want to create the sheeting drawings, and I will go ahead and do that. And you also have an option of creating just drawings based on selected views. So if you click on a view, you'll see that there's this golden border and that shows that that view is selected. We don't want that. We're going to go ahead and tell it to create all of the drawings from all of those views there. So we're just going to go ahead and leave all these options as shown, and we will press the Create Drawings button. When we do that, it's going to basically go through here. And you'll see that it'll have basically just these windows pop up because it's basically just automating the manual process that you would do of loading up the correct drawing properties and then selecting the correct view, and then it generates all of those drawings. Okay, so we can see that when everything is done, it'll show all of these drawings, and it literally created these drawings within about like a minute or so. So now I'm going to close the tool down and I'm going to show you some specific things that it does. First thing is, let's start with this cover sheet. When I actually open this up, it does the addition of the DWG DXF for that file that was copied over when SlideRule ran. So what am I talking about? If I actually open up the model folder here and go underneath plot files, you'll see that these are the CAD drawings that came across from the MBS job folder. And that would be the anchor bolt reactions, our standard detail sheets, and our drawing cover sheet. And so if it finds these DXFs inside of this plot files folder, the tool will automatically create an erection drawing for those, and it'll insert that DWG and DXF as a reference. So if I go back to drawing, now I no longer have to come up here and just double click on this and have to add this and scale it manually. It basically does a scale to fit, and it will scale that and place that on the drawing and center that in the drawing view. And that's why you see it shown like here. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this down, and we'll just go ahead and mark this as saved and ready for issuing. But if I just go back to the document manager here, let's also look at, for instance, the anchor bolt reactions. So I just want you to see how the sheets that require being referenced from a CAD file into the drawing are automatically done. And then if you need to move it around or rescale it, you can of course do that. But here I'm just going to kind of drag this up so that way it's not on there. And you'll see that the border's there, and this exterior white line doesn't print out, it's invisible. It's just happened to be lined up with the border of the sheet, but you can move that around as needed and you're good to go. Let me just take a look at the standard details drawing, just show you that. And here, as long as, I just kind of modified my drawing control file so it doesn't create a border. But there you go. You can see the standard details are now fitting on that. And if I just move this around, you'll see that DWG and DXF was just scaled to fit exactly to the sheet size. And so that shows how that works there. So we'll just go ahead and close this down. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at the other erection drawings. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up the roof framing plan here. And you'll see that the tool will automatically try to adjust the scale of the view based on the size of the grid. And it tries to fit it on the drawing here so that way you don't have to manually change the scale either in the view properties or in the contextual toolbar here. And the only thing that I cannot automatically do is I cannot automatically call the MBS tools that Tekla has created to annotate and add dimensions and things on the drawings. Unfortunately, I cannot programmatically insert these. So you have to come back here, open up the tool, press apply, and go ahead and let it do all of the dimensioning adjustments as required. And then you can close down the drawing and save it. But here you can see that within a few minutes, we can get a pretty basic job up and running and all the drawings cleaned up and created. And this gets you closer to feeling like the automation that you're used to over in MBS. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at a rigid frame elevation drawing here. So we'll open that up. And again, the view scale looks pretty good here for this drawing. We'll go over to the MBS tools and we'll launch the rigid frame dimensioning tool. We'll press apply and it'll go through and add all of those dimensions in there. And there we go. Within a few seconds, we've got all of those dimensions and we can just kind of grab and move things around if we need to make it look a little bit clearer. But there you can see that, again, fairly quickly. It's not going to be quite as automated and as fast as MBS, but from a Tekla point of view, this is much faster than manually creating all of these and changing the scale, loading up the correct view properties, and then having to make sure that everything has been loaded and applied correctly. Here, this automates all of that creation of both the detail sheets, the cover sheets, as well as your elevation and your plan views. And I'll even show you, let's take a look at maybe a sheeting drawing here. So I'll look at the roof sheeting plan here. So we'll just open that up. And you can see that there's the roof sheeting plan. It's got all of the panels called out. And then if there was any trim and everything like that, you can see that in the trim table here at the upper right. So all the member tables are automated and all the filters and everything. We've set all of that up into our drawing properties. And then the tool just automatically calls out the correct drawing properties for different drawing types and then creates those rapidly here within Tekla Structures. Again, my name is Chris Keyack, and I specialize in training and setting up and working with clients that work in the metal building industry and helping you accelerate the learning curve and getting started with Tekla Structures and working in 3D. Whether you want to collaborate in 3D with your customers, or if you're doing complex jobs, or if you're getting started with robotic welding and you need to funnel your jobs through Tekla Structures to feed your robotic welder in the shop, we can help you with all of those workflows. Feel free to reach out to us to find out more and how we can help you get started.